Hey, how's it going? This is Dylan with Dylan Pickups and DylanTalksTone.com, and we're going to talk about Bigsbys today. I got a bunch of questions come in over the last few days about Bigsbys because I'm working with Nikita Guitars on some Bigsby builds. I'm doing some here myself. Over a period of time, we built a ton of these things and just got some tips and tricks. First of all, I want to talk to you about the different types. We typically use either the B5 or the B16 on a flat top guitar. Now a B7 is going to be one that's kind of like more of an arch for like a Les Paul top. But even within the B5, there's a couple of different ways to do it. You can use a conversion kit on a Telecaster like this one, and I'll show you some close-ups as we talk about it, where we have the normal B5 Bigsby that bolts flat to the top, and then there is this bridge that goes on top of a plate that mounts the pickup. Now when we build these guitars from scratch, we don't drill the holes for the string through the body because you don't need them. So these two guitars, or all these guitars that we're talking about here, don't have string through the body at all because we were able to build them from scratch. That being said, you can take a normal Telecaster and retrofit it to this style right here with this plate, or we could do it for you. The benefit of using Bigsby's own bridge is that it has a little, and this is sort of weird and it might not be able to see it in the picture, but it has a little wiggle to it. It's because these posts have tapers to them, and it allows the string to slide. The string doesn't actually have to slide on the saddle. The saddle just moves a little bit, and it allows it to return to center, and it keeps the thing stable. A lot of people complain about the stability of Bigsbys. We have a whole nother video on that, about how to keep a Bigsby in tune. But one of the things is use the bridges that come with them, and they'll work a lot better than if you try to retrofit a normal Telecaster style bridge or some other sort of bridge. Okay, we're not always a fan of a roller bridge, but sometimes we are. In this case over here, this is a Bigsby B5 that has a Tune-o-matic style roller bridge because it just worked better. We were going to use the Tune-o-matic on this guitar anyhow, and then when we decided to do a B5 on it, actually the customer that we designed this guitar for actually wanted a B5. So instead of doing some sort of retrofit thing, we were able to design it in. In this case, we did use a roller bridge. These are exactly the same tremolos, just different color, but just a different style of doing the bridge. Instead of having the whole bridge rock, obviously it has rollers. Now the one that most people have tons of questions about for us, and I'll show you a close-up of this. This is called the B16. This goes on a Telecaster bridge, a Telecaster guitar pretty much exclusively because the bridge pickup is actually built into the tailpiece. And it actually screws into it. The tailpiece actually sits above the body, or the pickup actually sits above the body of the guitar. Now you can use many different kinds of bridges with this. You can use a roller Tune-o-matic. You can use, Wilkinson makes a couple of rollers. You can use this particular style bridge here. It'll work in that architecture. When we first started doing a lot of these B16s a long time ago, I did not like the Sorkin bow tie bridge, which almost is like a violin bridge or a vintage Gretsch style bridge, because you can't really adjust the intonation from string to string. However, over time using them and with experience, I found that I really, 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 really like them. And the reason for it is also designed to rock in the bridge. It is actually designed to move when you flex the vibrato bar. So it also has fantastic positive effects for tuning stability. Even though you would think it's crazy and hard to deal with because it's a floating bridge for intonation, you actually have to move it around physically. Once it's set up, it's super, super stable. It moves with the vibrato when you move it, and it returns to center very, very well. I was really skeptical when we first started doing a lot of these, and I really, really like it now. One of the main things that you have to think about when you are either converting a Telecaster to or any other guitar to a Bigsby bridge or a Bigsby tailpiece is the neck angle. Now the neck angle for these three guitars is different for all of them. And the reason is because of the bridge type. It's really helpful to know what style of bridge you're going to use before you embark on putting a Bigsby on a guitar or designing a guitar with a Bigsby on it. Okay, so with this particular style bridge here, you only need to put about 2 degrees or possibly 3, depending of neck angle in here, because remember, everything's going to be higher, so it's not flat like a normal Telecaster. Okay, you can do it with a shim, and we have a whole video on shims if you want to debate on whether it's a good or bad and it ruins your tone and all that stuff. We have a whole video on shims also. Check out Dylan Talks Tone on YouTube. To let some of those shim haters relax, we use carbon fiber instead of any kind of cardboard because it's more stable. So if you're going to retrofit a guitar, you can use a shim and get about 3 degrees of neck angle here, and then just bolt the neck back on. When we design a guitar from scratch, these guitars, this one I had cut by Nikita Guitars, and these two I actually designed with Nikita Guitars. I had them actually put the neck angle into the neck pocket when we were designing it from scratch, so no shim was needed. Okay, so it's about 3 degrees on this one. Now a tune-o-matic on this particular body, just because of the scale length and everything, I think it's 2.8 degrees on this one. On this guitar, because the whole pickup has to sit above the body of the guitar, it's almost 6 degrees. So it is when we design these guitars and sell them to other people, it's very, very helpful to know what they want to use ahead of time, because we really like to build it into the neck pocket before we ever cut the guitar. That way we know that we don't have to put a huge tall shim in there. It puts undue stress on the front bolts on the neck if it's not, the angle's not correct. But once everything's right, and if you figure it all out and everything is right, they work awesome. And we'll do some tests. I'll show you, we'll shoot some videos over the next few days of these guitars, and just give you a little idea of what they can do and how they sound. You know, they sound like the guitars normally sound. This guitar, with the B16, it does change the tone a little bit, only because the pickup is mounted differently, and the bridge is different. It's a completely different style of bridge than what we're used to. These, at least, this is sort of like a 6-saddle or a 3-saddle Tele. It's sort of very similar. This is a tune-o-matic. It's very familiar. So tonally, it doesn't change things a whole lot. But this pickup configuration and this bridge configuration are so different. I would say that it allows us some more highs, maybe, something like that. Well, I'll show you. We'll shoot some videos with that. If you have any questions about Bigsbys, if you have any questions about scale length, string tension, how to keep them stable, any of that stuff, check out Dylan Talks Tone on YouTube. You can go to youtube.com/Dylan Pickups, and the playlist on there is Dylan Talks Tone. We have like over 100 videos, various stuff to help you with string tension, with scale length, with the shim thing. Check that out. And also check out Dylan Talks Tone for our weekly podcast. But I just wanted to show you a few different ways to accomplish a Bigsby about going to, the same thing. And if you have any questions about it, like I said, hit me up. My name is Dylan. This is Dylan Talks Tone, and we will talk to you soon.